Let's assume you got all the necessary parts already separated. Start by putting them in the right order. As you can see, the spots between the parts overlap a bit, which avoids white spots when trying to rotate them, but isn't necessary. Everything is separated into upper arm, lower arm, hand or palm, and each individual finger if wanted that detailed. The first step would be to set the right rotation point so that instead of rotating in a big circle, the layer turns only around that point. The point should be set to where the part you're on meets another part, the upper arm to the shoulder, lower arm to the upper one, and hand to the lower arm and then the fingers to the palm. To actually attach that, you move to Info on your Option Center, and next to My Trash Can symbol, click the Pro feature, available through watching an ad, where you then chose that part. So what I do is press the upper arm to the body, example, or the lower arm to the upper arm. And this step is called tweening, used in Gacha too, so you just learned something useful for a lot more stuff. To get to the actual animating arms is the easiest step. Via use, you simply use the rotation tool beneath Move and Transform and set your keyframes, the rhombus formed thing on the left bellow, and add 2 of those on which you add the wish's movement and set them where wanted. By holding down for a while on one keyframe, you can move them freely. As we can see, there is movement, but that is very stiff and not smooth, so we add the so-called graphs. This might look confusing, but believe me, you only need a few. There are 3 types. 1, use graphs, the first 3 repetitive graphs, the middle 3, and the jiggly twitchy ones below. We will need the repetitive ones for my technique. Use the middle wave graph, a smooth repeating graph, that the way you adjust it. The more waves, the more it repeats, and I'll go for a single back and forth. And that's already it. Now you simply repeat this step on all the other layers you want to animate. Now to give you another graph. Here I added the upper body. Yes, I quickly attached the upper arm to it. And we will do the same thing, but the only difference is the graph I'm using. Instead of a repetitive one, I used a smooth single-use one, the last one. This graph enables a smooth movement with a slow start and fast end, but it doesn't stop abruptly. For animating clothes, I am using a manga sleeve. First, to make the layer size smaller, we add a rectangle and adjust the size so it barely covers the layer. After doing so, we select the 2 layers, pressing long into the layers on the left, and select both, then press the middle layer option on the right. Once again, we change the turning point just as we did prior for editing purposes later on. Now we go to Effects and search for Bend. This effect, as the name says, allows us to bend out layer. Settings are top and start to 25%, can be lowered. Angle is depending entirely on you, so you add 2 keyframes for beginning and end, and then adjust to your own liking. Once again, I use the repeative graph and turn it up higher to about 3 waves. Now, as you can see, the 3 dots below at graph has the option to copy the graph, so just do that. Now, moving on to rotate, we set 2 keyframes with the same settings, making the first keyframe moving the same way as in bend, and so the second one. Then adding our graph, but additionally adding a half wave to our graph. For animating mouth movement, I separate the mouth into 2 parts. We start with the upper lip. Set 2 keyframes for the upper lip and move it down a bit on the second one. Once again, use the repeative graphs. Do the same thing with the open mouth part, but moving it up until it disappears. Beneath the upper lip dot, if anything pokes out, just adjust the size with keyframes like shown. Use the same graph as in the upper lip. Now we group together the parts with the option group. To give it the talking style, go to Effects and use the Effect Scale Assist. Here I go to X and just set 2 keyframes, with the first one being turned down and leaving the second on 0. Add the same graph as before, but remove half a wave or add half if wanted. Extra. Additionally, you can go into the group and go to the upper lip, add the effect, Wave Warp, and adjust spacing until the lip curves into a smile, and then set keyframes. On magnitude for when the mouth is closed to smile and when it opens to go to 0. Use the same graph once more, and we are done. Starting with blinking, I start with the upper eyelid, adding the effect Wave Warp. Adjust spacing until the eyelid looks like it's blinking somewhat. You can adjust the strength with magnitude. Add 3 keyframes. The first 2 closer and the last one a bit away. Adjust magnitude on the middle one. As for graphs, use on the first 2 keys the smooth graph options and choose the graph shown. For the second graph, go to the repeative graphs and go to the middle one, a bouncy graph, and simply adjust that too. Use my settings as a help. Now we do the same with the lower eyelid, adjusting it with spacing so it bends upwards, and closing it on the middle keyframes until the eye is shut, then adding the same graphs. To make the pupil movement, I add random keyframes and move the pupil around, no graphs needed, then adding the affect time quantization and leaving the setting at 5 seconds. As for the eyebrows, you simply add wave warp and adjust that so the brows bend downwards, then adding the same keyframes with the same graphs and movement, only at the middle frame on magnitude. Overall face movements needs a rectangle. Turn the opacity down a bit. Then move over to color and go to the color fade option where a circle one should be shown. Click on that one but swap black and white. Move the white circle so that only the face is covered in that circle and turn the opacity back up. Last but not least, add displacement map and set your keyframes for when the face is supposed to move. Then change offset on those. You can switch between X and Y and add graphs if wanted. And that's it. For tears or sweat, simply set 2 keyframes on move and transform. On one the tear goes down, no graphs needed. You can add wave warp, like I did, and play a bit around with that, but I don't do much more. For blush, just add 2 keyframes on opacity and set one to 0.